So I really thought that these layoffs gonna actually kind of stop a little bit here right before the election to give people some room and all this other stuff to worry about so they can make their political choice or whatever. And as I'm browsing through the internet, Intel eyes another 500 Bay Area job cuts as tech giant layoff widens. RV manufacturer Winnebago Industry announces layoffs at their city plant. Columbus-based Bread Financial laying off 500 employees. It's just crazy. Intel Oregon layoffs. Pfizer's layoffs. So as we're looking, these layoffs just don't stop. And when you're looking at the layoff tracker right here, and you can see how many companies are doing layoffs, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. So we had all these huge cuts. And it's not only that it's US companies, it's also around the globe. And some of it has to do with the death of Silicon Valley, so to speak. This is what I think is happening. That all these tech companies, they overhired during COVID, and all of a sudden, then they're like, hey, we hired so many people, and the revenue divided by however many people they are, they said, oh, we should increase that. And so if we hire more people, they're going to make us more revenue. And that was kind of false. And so now they're looking at it, oh shit, how do we scale back? So now what they're doing is laying everybody off because they didn't expect the growth, they didn't get it. So now they're like, okay, let's get rid of them. And so, as you guys know, Ali and I have a job search community where we help job seekers. And a bunch of you guys reached out, and some of them we're helping you guys, and some of them we are not. And some of you guys have said to me some really crazy stuff. So this has happened now on multiple occasions that people have reached out and said, I need help. So I asked the normal questions. How long you been looking? 1 year. And I said, so why haven't you find something? Oh, the establishment is out to get me. So when I hear stuff like, oh, the establishment is out to get me, I know the conversation's just gonna go down the hill from there. Because when you're gonna say, oh, the establishment is out to get me, and my resume, my project portfolio, all these other things are perfect, I'm always like, okay, so are you telling your interviewer exactly what you're telling me? Is that how you come across? And so I'm just listening, right? At this point, I'm just listening. And these people then go on and say, I've been job searching for a year, it's not me. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars in college, and the college couldn't help me, and you can't help me either, and all this other stuff. And then I'm like, yep, you're absolutely right. I can't help you because with that attitude, you're never ever gonna find it. And so I said something to a person on LinkedIn. I said, I probably can't help you. You need to change your mind. I was like, well, you on your YouTube channel talk about going against the establishment and what these companies are doing is wrong. I say it, yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it. There's absolutely nothing. I have 5,000 subscribers and 4,000 people view this video probably. So there is no way that I can change the market. There's just no way. And if you're watching this video, this is just a little lesson in how to be prepared, in what to do as a business owner and as a job seeker, and what I learned from being a business owner and helping all these people find jobs. So if you're a job seeker, you're being let go by one of these major companies, then you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't job searched in a long time. Then if this was me, I would say, hey, is this competitive? I should probably find help. Go to Resume Now. Go find a career coach. Contact somebody like me that does that helps people find jobs. Why? Why, you might ask? And I used to not believe that this thing or a service like this provided any value. And 5 years ago, I would have told you, yeah, just send in your resume. If it's not half eaten by your cat, you'll probably get an interview. But now, when we're seeing all of these amazing people by Intel, by Tesla, by Facebook, by Meta being laid off, these people have skills. These people are vetted out. These people have these huge companies on their resume, so they're going to most likely just get a call back because they worked at Google, they did all this other stuff. So that's going to make it harder for you. So what does that mean? And how can you progress? So if you're looking at, hey, I want to get hired, you need to have everything spot on. LinkedIn, your resume, your project portfolio, all that needs to be spot on, and you need somebody to coach you through an interview. It changed. Now it is an employer's market. So the employer has 4 to 5 different options that he's going to pick from. And how do I know that? Well, one of our clients that Ali had said to her, hey, I want $1 more an hour. And they actually came back and said, no, if you're not going to accept by tonight, midnight, we're just going to give that offer to somebody else that is going to actually take this job for $1 less. So there's no negotiation. And so when you have coaches or whatever, yes, there's scammy ones out there. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but most of them are actually trying to actually really, really help you out. And you most likely need it, because if you're going to into this job market and you're going to do something, you need to know what's trending in the market, what these people do, and how they do their job. And now you're like, well, why would I do that? Well, it's simple. It's very, very simple. You and I are not market makers. So if Elon Musk, Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, all these big, huge corporations, Jamie Dimon comes out and says, you know what, we're going to abandon the resume and we're going to do just videos. You're going to send in a video of yourself talking, and that's how you're going to present your resume to us, and this is the new way of doing it. Other people will follow. People like me that is hiring a salesperson right now, or other people in the realm of tech that follow these trends are gonna listen and follow. But me just saying it to 3,000 people, maybe it goes viral and it gets 20,000. I'm not gonna be a market maker. I'm just not. I don't have the recognition. I'm not striving to do that. I'm just trying to help my small community out. I'm just not that big of a name where I get to these conferences and I can innovate and come do something. If Elon Musk comes out today and says, at all of my companies, we're going to abandon resumes, we're going to abandon email, and we're going to use postcards, I'll bet you other companies will say, there must be something on it. I don't know what it is, but let's try it out. Let's get some sample sizes. Let's get some data. And now you're like, oh, postcards? Yeah, we don't know why, but hey, if you're a market maker, you can make moves like that and other people will follow, right? And now you're like, oh, I just want a job. Well, you need to change your views. You need to change the approach. You need to back engineer it. And a lot of people have problems with that. A lot of people that I see are not that job search savvy, because everybody has experts nowadays. When you go to fix your car, you go to a car mechanic because he has an expertise in it and he did it for a long time. So most likely it's better off giving it to them than it is for you. Can you do it? Of course. You can do anything you want. You can self-diagnose yourself with the help of AI and Google to get a job, or go get yourself some diagnosed from medication or whatever's wrong with your body via Google and some Google research. But it's not an expert opinion. So I am valuing expert opinions in a whole bunch of different fields that I know nothing about. And people say that, oh, you're on your YouTube, you always say stuff like that. I do, but I also value experts, because I don't know how to create a plumbing line. I don't know how to pump a septic tank. I'm not going to go on YouTube and just rent a septic truck and kind of pump it out. I have nothing that I know about that. So I value an expert opinion. And could I probably pump out a septic tank by myself, somehow figure something out or get some kind of sketchy deal going? Of course I can, but it's just not worth the trouble. And sometimes people are so stubborn in their ways that they're not going to see how much it actually can provide. And if you are one of these people, just brighten up your horizon, see what's out there, see how much it actually can help you and actually leapfrog you ahead, so you can then say, oh my gosh, this was actually way better than I ever thought it is, and be open to it, because layoffs are brutal. Layoffs are brutal. And when I'm saying the death of Silicon Valley, is that you're going to compete with the best of the best. And once you're competing with the best of the best, People move from all over the world to work at Silicon Valley, be into the next startup. So it's competitive. It's very competitive. And then you're sitting there trying to be stubborn about it and not accepting any help. Then how are you going to be the best at the best? And I noticed a lot of people that we're helping are so technical. They know everything about their job, but they cannot articulate and they cannot communicate that clearly to non-technical people. And so that is another thing. When you're talking to customers, then you gotta articulate yourself depending on what level they're at, right, of expertise. If it's a technical recruiter, so to speak, and they're good at what they do, you can kind of be more technical. But if it's just a random recruiter and you're interviewing about AI and they have no idea what it really means or how to really code and program it, you're talking to somebody about quantum physics, or you're talking to them in a whole nother language. So it's like, okay, crazy. And so it's funny when I interview people, because I help people interview, but I also have a company, so I also have interviews. And I notice when there's that easy apply on LinkedIn, when I post my jobs and I have clear instruction, I have a 2-step interview process. And the first one is you're gonna book a call with my team member, and she's gonna then vet you and see if you can show up on time, be presentable, and follow 2 basic instructions. Send a cover letter and send your resume to an email. And you would not believe how many people do not follow those instructions. So for every probably 50 applications we move from 50 applications, we move about 10 to the next round where we schedule a call with them. And we tell them, please book on a Friday. So we'll tell them the exact time that they need to book it. If you book on a Thursday, we're gonna say, sorry, you did not follow the instructions, and this is not gonna work out. So if they'll tell you, please book on a Friday, and you then say, hey, I can't book on a Friday, is there another opportunity for me? Then, of course, I'm gonna say, yeah, when does it work for you? But I most of the time say, hey, can you book on a Friday or on a Thursday? And seeing if they can follow basic directions. So that's step 1. Then they present themselves. We see how they come up. Do they have the camera on? Are they gonna be fitting around? Are they gonna have a whole bunch of different crazy things going on? Is their parent in the background? Because I've seen that people bring their parents to the interview. And now you're like, what? Yeah, people actually, Gen Z are bringing their parents or their friends to their interview. And that's like, oh my gosh. Or they go fully dressed in tie and suit to a virtual interview that's gonna make everybody kind of uncomfortable when you're like, wow, you're so overdressed. So, like, be casual. The second thing that we do at my company is then, hey, how are you either gonna save my company money or make my company money? Super simple. Please present in the step 2. Please present, this is the second round, please present a 5-minute presentation on how your impact is gonna either save me or make me money. And then I'm gonna have a second question. So it's only a 2-question interview basically after the first round, where I say, what kind of book did you read last that is going to help you succeed in this role? And it can be whatever, but I want them to hear about their book, and I'm gonna ask questions about it because I'm gonna be on the computer, and I'm gonna ask AI to actually, hey, summarize this and ask a question about that book. And my person that is actually managing my company is a huge book nerd, so she might have follow-up questions or might even know the book, and then we can move from there and ask some questions. And then we decide afterwards, hey, what is that? How is that? How was it? What do we want to do? Do we want to create them an offer? How was it? And for everybody that is just watching now, it's actually a super simple process, but there's a lot of trickiness going on, and people are nervous and they get really trigger happy with the click button, click send, and then they send in between the first and the second interview, they send 15 follow-ups and say, hey, is this what I need to be doing? Is this what I need to be doing? It's like, no, I cannot use an employee like that. So you kind of gauge what kind of employee they are. And this is why you sometimes need an expert, because the harder the job market is, the harder it's going to be for you to stand out. Because before, like I said, in 2019, super easy, sent the resume. If it wasn't chewed up by your dog and you sent it in, you most likely got an interview and it was time like nobody else. But now the tables turned, and now it's, like I said, the death of Silicon Valley, where everybody is being fired, so everybody's looking for jobs. And now if you don't have network and you haven't been doing that because you thought you were too cool to network and you were too high up as a senior leadership to network with anybody else, then, well, tough luck. You're now in a situation where you need to learn how to humble yourself and not come over cocky, because just because you were in a senior executive a year or two ago doesn't mean you're going to still be a senior executive today. And now you're like, well, then I'm just not going to get a job. Well, then don't. It's not my journey, it's yours. And with that attitude, probably not going to happen in 2024, 2025. But hey, if you network, you come over kind, you come over with some humility, you come over with the aspiration of learning and bringing great value to an organization, all of a sudden, you can then say, hey, this might be a cool person to work with. But if you're going to come over and force your way in and start laying down the laws and all this kind of other stuff, that is first in, first out, right? FIFO, first in, first out. So if you're going to do layoffs, oh shit, let's get this guy out. And all this stuff, people talk. You think your industry is huge. You think all this industry is so big. When it comes down, there's a few players in it, and most likely they all know each other, they all eat dinner. And a lot of people say collaboration over competition. Even though you're a competitor, you're still friends with them. And I know a bunch of career coaches that are actually still my friends, and we're actually competing. But we're not competing in a sense like, oh, I need to get this client, no, I need to get this client. No, there is enough out there for everybody, but you just got to get a good value product. You know my 3 rules, right? Availability, good product, and good customer service. And then all of a sudden, you have a very, very good product where you help a lot of people. And the bigger the problem you solve, then the bigger the paycheck's going to be at the end. If you solve small world problem, then you're going to get small paycheck. If you solve big world problems, you get big paychecks, right? Kind of the entrepreneur side in me. But yeah, for all these people that have been messaging me and saying, you know, you've been against establishment, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm not a market maker. Even though I think it's not right, I can't change it. I try to change it in my company, but I can only go as far as the trends are now, and I just follow the trends. Most of us just follow trends. When you look at these companies, when you look at one company doing layoffs, everybody else is doing layoffs because they follow trends. And somewhere the trend starts, and sometimes you're ahead of the trend or you're on the other end of it where you're like, oh my gosh, we're falling behind, and you got to innovate. It's like the AI buzz, right? Everybody wants AI, so either you're a trendsetter or you're a little bit behind, but hey, you just got to get on, because if you're not going to get on the train now, you're going to have to worry that the whole train station leaves without you. And then you're going to be 6 years old and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use any of this. And yeah, dabble in it, learn a little bit about it, and see what's out there. And sometimes when you're like, hey, let me just join a group or something like that, networking, you don't have to join a career coaching group. Join a LinkedIn group for people looking for jobs. Do all these kind of other stuff and see what they can do and how they can help you. It doesn't have to cost you anything, but yeah, if you haven't, connect with me on LinkedIn. So yeah, and like and subscribe to this video if you think this was helpful. But yeah, it is absolutely brutal now, and I thought it was going to stop right before the election, so there's no big surprise. But then they always say the October surprise, and I don't know if we've seen that or not, but there's always going to be something happening, something big. And I haven't seen big numbers besides Amazon trying to hire for the season, for the upcoming winter season, and I don't know how that's going to go, because people just don't have the money. People don't have the money. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Is this super way off? And have you ever tried getting help like that, or is this like a foreign concept? Let me know. So I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. In a few more days before I'm in Florida, I already got some really good topics going for when I'm in Florida. Gonna go see some hurricane damage, gonna see some stuff like that, see how it is down there. And yeah, going on a little trip and still in Las Vegas. Beautiful sky, right? So I love you guys. See ya in the next one.